This graph shows an exponential increase in the amount of searches about AI in the past year. The spike was caused with the advent of ChatGPT, which caused a paradigm shift where people realized that AI can do many of the complex things that humans can perform at a high level that is hard to distinguish between machine and human. This paradigm shift became extremely apparent when one of the people in the presidential debate asked questions about artificial intelligence taking over jobs.
10 years ago today, the artificial intelligence created to protect us detonated a nuclear warhead in Los Angeles. For as long as AI is a threat, we will never stop hunting them. This is a fight for our very existence.
Governor Christie, I wanted to follow up on this because 22% of American workers fear their jobs will be lost to a robot. And you said in the past that the free market is the way to go. Would you retrain workers who lose a job to artificial intelligence, and to do what?
Both the movie trailer and the presidential debate have demonized AI into this scary force that is going to take over our lives and humanity. However, they don't know how it works. So let's dive into how AI works. The question is, why should people be making judgments about how AI should be used when they don't even know how it works? How can we expect that the person asking the question in the presidential debate knows how AI works, and how can we expect the person answering the question to know how it works? There's a total disconnect in the amount of information that people have, and this creates problems. So I'm going to explain how a type of generative AI works, and then reevaluate all of the weird problems and questions that people had under this lens. So this is going to be my summary of how generative AI works. This example will be for generating handwritten numbers. This algorithm works in a way that's sort of like tug-of-war between what I would call the generator, which is this thing, and the discriminator, which is the sheet I'm picking up right now. The way that this works is that the generator, at first, generates a bunch of random noise, and the goal is that the generator is supposed to fool the discriminator into thinking that the randomly generated number from noise is actually a real number. In what is similar to natural selection, the idea generator takes only the randomly generated pixels that fool the discriminator and uses those to generate more convincing sets of random pixels that will fool the discriminator into thinking that the randomly generated pixels are actually a real number. I made a hand-drawn representation of this so that way you can visualize how this works in real life. Alright, so here is round one of the generative AI network. Boop! The generator just generated a random number, and now the discriminator is going to look at it and say, oh, this doesn't look like a number.
I'm going to say that this looks like a number, so we're getting green light. The discriminator gets this 7. Oh, this definitely looks like a number. Gets this thing, no, that's definitely not a number. The generator sees this. Yeah, this is definitely not a number. The generator sees this. Oh, this kind of looks like a 1, so that's going to go right here. Now, all this data right here, it knows that these two things are now trash because they didn't fool the generator. However, these ones are now being used for generating new training data. So
all of this is gold because it's going to help the idea generator create more accurate predictions of what it thinks a number is.
You have this, and the next set of numbers is going to be based off of whatever algorithm of random noise generated this.
So to save you from an insanely boring montage of repetitiveness, I'm skipping to the middle of round 3.
This definitely looks like a number. It looks like an 8, so I'm going to say that this goes into the success file. This one kind of looks like a C and a 6, success. This one, that's weird, I don't know what it is, not a number. And this one looks like a bunch of random gibberish, but looks like a number. Number. This one failed. Josh, number, number, definitely a number, definitely a number, 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 number. Great news. Now our discriminator has been fooled on 100% of the tries, and our training of our generative AI thing is complete.
So now that you actually know how artificial intelligence works, I can go more in depth on the real dangers of AI. And the first one is deepfakes. With deepfakes, people can steal your identity by pretending to be a family member in a big emergency. That's really bad. People can also use deepfakes to catfish people. Also really bad. For example, how social media companies already use AI to predict what you like. That's bad. The real danger is people using AI to manipulate your behavior and change what decisions you normally would make. And this could be to perform a crime, or it could be staying longer on a social media account through clickbait. I think the reason why so many people are making assumptions about AI without understanding it is that the risk of these assumptions would take away their life. So being wrong is much less risky than being right. And with that being said, I'm going to debunk every single documentary and movie clip that I showed in the previous 5 minutes.
Governor Christie, I wanted to follow up on this because 22% of American workers fear their jobs will be lost to a robot. And you said in the past that the free market is the way to go. Would you retrain workers who lose a job to artificial intelligence, and to do what?
The problem with this is that the lady asking the question doesn't know enough about AI to be able to know if the answer that the person is giving is right or wrong. And then, on top of that, the person answering the question doesn't know how it works, so he can't know if it's right or it's wrong. It's all approximations of what they think they know. It just makes no sense.
Years ago today, the artificial intelligence created to protect us detonated a nuclear warhead in Los Angeles.
First of all, why would we give an artificial intelligence the permission to control a nuclear warhead? Wouldn't we want to have multiple layers of protection and dual-factor authentication to detonate a warhead? This makes no sense, and no one would ever give a computer, a single person, or any AI that much power. All that this does is stirs up fear and creates lots of interest, which is great when you're trying to sell a movie.
For as long as AI is a threat, we will never stop hunting them.
My problem with this is that if you were being threatened by AI, there should be an off switch to that AI that does not involve shooting them or killing them, because AI is not a human. And they're making it so similar to humans when it's just not. They're two totally different things. This is like a super interesting movie, but it's also a totally inaccurate representation of our society and how AI would be implemented in it. And all this does is stirs up fear and makes people go crazy over things that aren't even realistic. If these fears are so unrealistic, then what should we actually fear about AI? The things that I can think of that are scary are deepfakes, and also people using AI to make pornography. With machine learning, AI could generate pornography that is considered obscene without actually harming anyone, but it would increase the risk of people performing violent sexual offenses. With difficulty of telling what porn is real and what porn is fake, it might be impossible for police to determine which human trafficking cases are real and which ones are not real, and this would put a lot of children and even adults at risk. Furthermore, with a really good AI, there would be an influx of phishing attacks where people steal other people's voices to pretend their identity and gain access to their personal accounts by tricking them into thinking they're someone that they know. Lastly, we already experience issues with AI in social media recommendation algorithms, where they're recommending things based off of the things we like, and they have deceptive designs and other things to maximize our screen time. This is a huge problem with AI already. The last type of problem I will talk about is clickbait. And clickbait is literally where the algorithms pick the best looking title and thumbnail, so that way it's optimized for a click, even though it might not have anything to do with what the video is on. Social media companies use clickbait to find the most clickable title and thumbnail combos. This makes it challenging for people to exit the app, gaining the social media companies more money. These ideas all owe a lot to the fact that people fear something completely unrealistic and impossible about AI. AI is nowhere near being powerful as a human or smart as a human, yet people are thinking that AI will be this limitless thing that, if let loose with no restrictions, will take over the human race and eventually nuke us and kill us all. These fears are simply unrealistic and not true. So why do we fear so many things that are so unrealistic and so untrue and not possible? My conclusion is that the risk of being wrong in this case outweighs the reward. The risk of being wrong and being undercautious with AI is that the AI takes over and nukes everybody and kills everyone. However, if you're prepared and you're right and you go into it with these precautions, it's much harder for AI to take over and nuke us because you put in things to prevent those types of situations from happening. And these safety nets are pretty simple to implement. Just like we don't give one human the power to set off a nuke and require multiple humans to agree upon it, you don't give one AI the power to set off a nuke. You have multiple different AIs that would determine whether it's safe to set off a nuke. And then on top of that, you could have a third layer of a human to validate that these concerns that the AI have are correct. That way, the AI can't set up a nuke on its own country. And then on top of that, unlike humans, where when a human commits a crime, you can't just kill them. With an AI, you can just shut it off and get rid of the AI if it's making a really bad error, like trying to nuke its own country. The death penalty for AI is literally just turning it off, and there's no harm in turning an AI off. In fact, when there's a bug in AI, you can work it out and get rid of it just like you can with another program. Unlike humans, you don't need a prison incarceration system when an AI goes rogue. These things make AI inherently less risky than having human intelligence performing complex tasks. Humans are inherently more risky to turn against you, and they're harder to handle when they go rogue. This is why all of the things in movies that are talking about AI are inherently overreacting. And if you look at it through the right perspective, all of those people sound very, very stupid. The real fear is the people behind the AI using it maliciously, and it is not the AI turning against us and maliciously trying to harm us. We shouldn't fear AI creating a 9/11 type situation where it's attacking humans. What we should fear is the people behind 9/11 using AI maliciously.